Doing business in Kenya is not devoid of any challenges. These are seeing business at times hold back on full throttle investments. Here is more. The Kenyan economy has witnessed influx of investment over the last 4 years as the value of foreign direct investment doubled to $1 billion between 2014 and 2015. However, it's not been a smooth ride for the investors here.
The key obstacles or challenges at the moment, I would say first and foremost would be there is a perception that, we don't do things right as far as governance is concerned. And as you heard today, the Deputy President is quite keen and focused on doing what he can in terms of rooting out corruption both within the private sector and within government. I think the second obstacle is infrastructure. A lot of investors want to come here, but there are issues around the price and the cost of electricity, which is still much more expensive than in, say, places like Ethiopia. So again, that is unfortunately a government-related intervention that needs to happen in terms of providing incentives to reduce the cost of electricity and doing business.
When you look at investment in agriculture, if you ask me about the biggest obstacle that we are facing, one is accessibility to the resources, and the main one is land. The understanding within our farming community and guided by the land policy is that the owner of the title more often than not happens to be this old man who is the father. He can't work anymore, is an old coffee grower. So you have the youth who are willing to engage in production, to invest, to use that facility even to invest in something else, but they cannot be able to get access to the title. However, I'm aware that the government has done a lot, and through the Youth Enterprise Fund, one of the things that they're doing is that they're not demanding the title as a prerequisite to apply for a loan. So there's something being done, but we need it now to be escalated so it covers as many people as possible.
Another obstacle that investors have to overcome is the lack of investment-ready projects. While the Vision 2030 economic blueprint has created numerous opportunities, most of the projects therein have not been subjected to feasibility studies.
One of the things that the counties do very well is they've been having their own investment conferences to talk to investors and to attract them into their counties. But one thing that they've not done very well is to properly package projects so that they're bankable and investment ready. And for us at the East Africa Trade and Investment Hub, we've actually been working with Can Invest to help them understand what is needed to actually package a project so that an investor looks at it and can make an investment decision within a span of 2 or 3 months.
What we are doing is to work with the service providers, the top-notch business people who are able to pack bankable investment plans that can be able to lead us and lead the investors and tell them this is where you are going to bank, and this is where you're going to invest, and this is what your returns is going to be, and this is the county you're going to work in. But again, as I said in the beginning, the challenges continue. With the counties now, we have seen, yes, opportunities opening up, but when they start charging taxes and levies across the borders, then that becomes another challenge.
Most of the government-driven projects are being carried out within the public-private partnerships. However, there is need to establish private sector-driven projects.
We want to have initiatives which are very well packaged for the private sector. We do not want to continue having the government managing and facilitating. Let the government facilitate and let the government allow the private sector to lead in the investments and be able to do what they do best at.
For foreign investors eyeing projects in Kenya, access to information can be quite a challenge.
Do we have available, credible data? And do we have one single house where you go to and you can be told that demand in this market, in this county is this much? My answer is that that is an area that we really need to build up on, so that if you are engaging the county government of Turkana, for example, they're telling you these are the number of people that we have, this is the expenditure abilities, so that you can make a decision as to whether that market, as to whether that county would be able to invite and be able to pay back what you put back in investment. So we need to generate a lot of data, we need to guide people on where the data is, and we need to train people that this is what it means, so that they just don't go in because their sister or their uncle is opening up a shop.
The foreign investors struggle more because when you're local, you could just walk into an office and ask the question. You can call CanInvest and ask the question. But if you're foreign, you're sitting somewhere else. You have different levels of access to decision makers. So to a large extent, these investors are actually relying on the internet because in their minds, the internet has all the information that they need. But unfortunately, that's not the reality on the ground. A lot of our information is not up to date and it's actually not on the internet.
If Kenya is to maintain high improvement in the Global Doing Business Index, such challenges will need to be addressed sooner than later.
And one of the things in there was this requirement around 30% of any foreign company must have a local shareholding of 30%. Quite honestly, I don't think that is something that will attract investors, and I think that will actually lower our ranking. But I'm actually happy to see that the Deputy President actually has mentioned it as something that will go. So that's just an example, but I think we need to work more on reform, policy reform, that will actually help us move higher up in the rankings.